Wow, welcome to Papa John's World. Today's date's February 22nd, and it's about 9 o'clock in the morning. A little overcast today, but it's like 40 degrees. It's just unreal this winter. I just can't get over it. Anyway, I'm going to start up the little John Deere. The best starting tractor, and don't jinx me, but yeah, you give it a little throttle. Look at that. That's the best starting little tractor. I set my face cord bucket like that so the plywood don't hold any snow. If it does snow or rain. Anyway, we're gonna load 2 logs I've already bucked that were real high moisture content into that face cord bucket. Just get it out of the way. And then we're gonna buck that load of logs on the deck. I think there's 13 logs on the deck. So enjoy the video. Bird nest.
Oh, awesome. Right there.
Drop the tractor over under the pile.
What?
Drop the tractor over under the pile. That's quaking aspen. Most of it was missing bark. I thought it would be dry, but it's 38 to 48% moisture, too wet to burn. And that's part of that same. Those are 2 logs we bucked earlier. Okay, you can park it out of the way. Yeah, somewhere over there. There's 13 logs on this bucking deck. This is about the last small logs we have. And when I say small logs, I mean you can't lift them by hand when you cut a section. The ones we just lifted, that's about really all you want to lift when it's a wet quaking aspen. They probably weigh 60 pounds a piece, those we just lifted, some of the bigger ones. And I don't want to lift more than that. And I don't want Grandma to lift more than that, but she'll try. So I'd be careful with that. Anyway, this is going to be about 1.5 cords. I think we should be able to get it into the trailer, but it'll be a heap and load. We'll see how that turns out. I got to get the truck hooked up to the trailer, get my saw and my shafts, and we'll probably put that in our little Polaris. It's just easier to move it around and get it out here and get backed up to this and buck a load of wood. So good to be back in the firewood yard. Not bad for an old man. but I can't take all the credit. I have a cheater camera. These little cameras, it's wired into my tail lights. When I turn on my headlights and turn on the camera, it's radio frequency up to the little 3x4 screen in the cab. Works pretty slick. You get these on Amazon. I think they're about $65. I put one on my brother's truck for him. Cable sags more than I like, so I put a little bungee around the jack handle, and that keeps it up. Okay, we're ready to back up to the firewood pile. Grandma doesn't like it when I stack wood above. I feel comfortable stacking them up in here, but as you roll, as you get the logs off, you need to make sure and roll each log up. You don't want to build a gap, because when they start rolling, they'll get a little bit too much speed and they'll go right off the end of the bucking deck. So if you do a bucking deck, try to keep your wood close to where you're cutting. If I had a longer bar, I could easily cut 2 logs at once. That would, sometimes I still can if I get a quakey and a smaller pine. But okay, we'll get the chainsaw ready and stuff. Most of you've seen my little Makita saw. It's a, oh gosh, I think it's 67 cc. Pretty good size saw for its day. They're discontinued. You can't even get parts for this one. But knock on wood, she's still running good. This one does make a little mess when you fuel up the fuel tank. I think it runs out the vent when it's in this position. So you always get a little leak before you flip it back over. Once it's flipped back over, it's fine. And this chain, or since sharpening, has done 9 logs. There's the last video you watched on that. And usually for gassing it up, I set it like that. It's a VP can, but it's not VP fuel. I pre-mix my fuel. I do it myself. I just use the can. It's handy. That one's about empty. And I use non-ethanol fuel, 93 octane. See, it's already leaking out there a little bit. I don't like this can. I'm going to get rid of it. And hurry and put the lid on and lay it down. Always makes a little mess right there. Evaporate in just a minute. Oh, okay. If you keep your fuel a long time, make sure you keep your caps on tight.
Wow. Here.
I don't think we need to cut those, do you? On that end?
They're a little wet.
Yeah. Grandma measured that first log we cut is 46% moisture. So we're not going to mess with doing it that.
And it's heavy.
Yeah, and it's heavy. And she had another great idea, because this will probably fill that trailer up. Let's leave the big logs in the face cord bucket, then it won't take up room in the trailer, and when we're splitting we can just drive the face cord bucket over there to the splitter. That's why I keep her around. She's pretty smart.
I'm full of good advice.
If it wasn't for my bucking deck, I don't think we'd do firewood. That's 13 logs that was on there, and I'm pretty old. Anyway, it's a pretty good jag in the trailer. So that's pretty good. I left my lights on my truck when I hooked up it. My headlight switch turns on my camera. So the only bad thing about a bucking deck is you get a log that's bridged. It's got a curve in it, and if it's got a gap, when you cut it, it's going to pinch your blade, your bar. So what I do is when it starts coming together, I get off the throttle. And the reason why, that's when you're going to have a kickback. If you leave your hand in the throttle and you go to pull that out and that tip catches the top of that log, that bar's coming up. And you see, it happens to me a little bit. I'll get some little jumps, but I usually have a really good hold on that chainsaw, because they can come back and get you. And when they get you good. It's not a little cut. I'm going to knock on wood. I've never been got by a chainsaw in 65 years, but I've only been cutting. I started cutting firewood when I was around 17 or so. And not continuously, but when we had wood stoves, I cut wood, and I cut a little bit to sell when I out of high school a little bit there to make a little extra money. This is quaking aspen and pine. Quakey grows nice and straight. They're pretty good logs. They're not the greatest heat log there is in the world. I think they're 19 million BTU per full cord, and like red oak and some of the other ones are 28 million BTU per full cord. Bur oak is probably 25 million BTU per cord, but you could probably cut 5 cords of quakey to 1 cord of bur oak when you're cutting in Colorado, in western Colorado. Dried pine's pretty good wood, spruce, and there is a wood, subalpine fir. It has a gray bark. It's a pine tree. It's not very good for firewood, and if it touches the ground, it'll rot in about 1.5 years. It's just not very good wood. Anyway, that was a pretty good day's work. I think Grandma's getting ready to start splitting this wood. Wood's wood. Anyway, hey, thanks for watching Papa John's World, and check out all the other videos, and be safe.